Okay, everyone, welcome back. It's been a long time. I've missed you, even though I might have seen some of you out and about at various stages doing other things. So welcome back. We've got a very grand titled series this time. It's not my title, I stole it. Sorry, I used it, I was inspired by it. So Piercing the Veil comes from a Lee Holden idea. He's into Qigong. He's a Qigong master. So a lot of the stuff comes around our connections with energy. So I won't go into too much detail, but I've also nearly always got sort of Tara Brach somewhere in the background who kind of sweeps her way in. There'll be a mini combination between those sort of teachings that I'm bringing together with my own little twist. So Piercing the Veil, just as a brief introduction, is this recognition that on one level, we're always in the world. Yeah, we can't not be in the world, but sometimes it feels like there's some separation between ourselves and the outer world, whatever that might be, this bit of space just beyond ourselves. And that happens because that's what humans do. We kind of have to come back in order to go out. But sometimes it can feel like we're either working, just going through the same ingrained kind of habits and ways of living our lives. And the kind of piercing the veil is this imagining this sort of veil, this thin veil around us, that sometimes we just need to kind of realize that we can reach beyond, we can reach into, we can break through, we can find ways to be more present, find ways to make more of a connection, find ways to understand ourselves better so that we can kind of be in the world in a better place for us and everybody around us. So that's kind of a very broad background. There's also this idea, particularly from Lee Holden, that the piercing the veil is recognizing there's something bigger than our kind of everyday lives and bigger than the senses that we kind of often work with and use to be present. Yeah, so there's things beyond the seeing and the hearing and the smelling and all those kind of obvious senses. And there's all this energy around us that we kind of vaguely kind of feel we might know about it when we see the wind blow and the sun come through and, you know, leaves fall from a tree, and all those kind of things kind of give us some kind of sense of it, but we may not always be present to that possibility. So it's kind of saying we can be open to other possibilities. So over these 4 weeks, I'm going to suggest an intention which we work with within the meditation and to some extent within the movement. So today will be about allowing release, allowing some sort of release in order to see. And then we've got probably a session around reveal, around heal, and around envisioning. So all those again sound a bit grand, so I'll see how that kind of goes. So good morning again. We're going to go into a mini bit of movement if you want to. Yeah. So these are Qigong movements that Lee has both developed and come from a tradition. So when I'm going to stand, but you don't have to, you can sit and be comfortable. Comfort is much more important than doing what I'm suggesting. And you can choose to do all of the movements or just a bit of it, or just watch and imagine it. Yeah, so you know how you feel and what's going to be sensible for your energy this morning. So sometimes it'll energize you to move, and sometimes it's kind of like, no, I just want to be still. So I'm standing, and I'm standing with my feet either hip distance or slightly wider. Okay, and I'm taking, might be easier to show you, I'm taking my hands, I'm bending my arms softly, elbows can rest down, and my lower arms can just kind of reach forward. So my elbows are obviously broadly at my waist level. My palms at the moment are soft and looking towards the sky. So from here, I'm going to just, I'm going to take an in breath. And as I take an out breath, I'm spiraling my arm forward. And that means I'm taking my palm to face away from me. And I'm softening that hand. And I'm sort of turning back, turning or undoing or creating a space and coming back to center. That's a lot of words for a very simple movement. Just to try and describe it. So just see how that feels. So we're going to do one arm, then the other arm. So start off with hands kind of facing towards the sky. Arms relaxed as possible. A mini bend in the legs, maybe, so we really feel the earth. Take a breath in. As we take a breath out, we just take the arm forward and give that sort of spiraling. If we can bring the shoulder forward in a reach, we do. And then we soften the hand. And it's if we're pulling back energy back to our starting point. We go with the second hand, we breathe in. As we breathe out, we come forward, we spiral, and we reach. We have this sense of pulling back as we breathe in, coming back to our starting point. We breathe out as we take the hand out, twisting, maybe reaching, pulling back, that sense of pulling back, resisting, pulling energy, pulling light, whatever kind of image it helps you. Just repeat. So if you can do this with your eyes closed, sometimes that's much more stronger connection than it is watching me. And you know broadly what you're doing. And what the action is if we go forward and we reach, we're piercing the veil. Yeah. And as we come back through that pierce, that hole, if you like, we're bringing light or energy back in towards our own being. Yeah, so there's a timing that goes to your breath, maybe, or there's just a movement that feels kind of relaxed and smooth. And there is a sense of movement, a sense of reaching, a sense of being grounded by the feet. So if you want to, what you can do just to change it up for just a moment is that you can, next time you go out, you could take both hands and arms forward and do that spiraling. Nature's full of spirals, and that pulling back. So we have now two holes through the veil, bringing light and energy. So maybe 2 or 3 more movements. And particularly coming back slowly, so we can really kind of draw that energy, that light back through from beyond the veil, from beyond ourselves. And then at some point, just settle. Just take your hands back, take your hands to your center just for a moment before we sit down and focus. So just hands on belly to feel the breath for a moment. Relax the head, the arms, the jaw, and soften. So you can almost imagine that energy or that light has come through, and your hands on the belly are kind of retaining or feeling that movement of energy within the body. So all this is around how you can imagine to some extent. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to come to sitting when you're ready. So finding your space, sit on the floor, sit on a chair, be on a bed, whatever's more comfortable. So that wasn't very long movement, yeah. That could be done for much longer to really kind of settle in, to finding this veil, to finding this spiraling movement, to feeling a sense of energy being pulled towards you, being able to see the light or the energy come through. So it takes some time and it's a soft movement. Okay, so we're seated and we've got a little bit of time to focus in. So Today I said we were going to focus around our intention, if you like, is around allowing release. So sometimes we need to hold on to things. You know, we need to just feel protected, and we're not ready to let things go. So it's always easier to allow release that feels ready to go. If it's light and it's easy, just let that flow. If it's something that feels a little bit more stuck, then, you know, don't force. You're just giving an opportunity. You're not forcing anything to go that doesn't want to leave you at this potential moment. And that can be a thought, it can be a story, it can be a judgment that feels like it's still quite useful for whatever reason. It can be an emotional state that you feel that you just need to sort of dwell in a little bit longer. That might not feel completely comfortable, but for now, that's something that needs to just sit and rest. So it's just allowing some potential for release of things that we might need to release. Okay, so let's do what you need to do to feel like you can settle for 10 or 15 minutes and find your happy seat. And if you need tissues or drinks to hand, something a bit warmer or whatever, then do. And then if you're closing your eyes, if you're happy to close your eyes person, close your eyes. If you just kind of want to lower your gaze to just soften a little bit, then soften the gaze. If you're a person that needs to open their eyes and close their eyes and do a little bit of movement through the practice, then do what feels right for your body to stay engaged. So as usual, our idea, our way of kind of tuning in is to be as relaxed as we can be today, this morning, and at the same time awake and aware and available. Yeah, so quite a few things going on. We're alert to the presence of our presence and the presence around us. And it's a still day at the moment, and it's a fairly open light morning. So September is upon us. There's a little bit of an autumn feel, cooler feel, maybe a slightly damper feel. A lot of our days change from sunny and warm to cloudy and wet. So, being present to where we are, the morning season, being present to being where you are in the space you're in, and knowing there's space beyond the space that we're in. So finding our connection, so our connection with our body. So before we were moving, and we were moving in a way that was trying to bring the body to feel alive and connected. And sometimes that may have worked, and sometimes it may have not, but that's our intention. To feel the feet on the ground, feel the weight of the bottom on the chair, on the floor, to feel our hands maybe connected somehow to the body, the warmth of the hands, the weight of the hands. So we know we're a body this morning, with all that brings, the sensations that brings. And to know that we are both able to give our weight to the ground, to the chair, to the floor, to whatever support is around us, and to know that we'll be held by that. And just to take that in for a moment, this body, this space, this weight, this support. And some of us might feel almost also a sense of support from the energy around us. Yeah, so that might be something that feels good too, that kind of we can recognize space around us, particularly the immediate space around us, maybe more strongly than further away. So being present to the body and being present to our own energy. Yeah, so our own energy, we will feel probably more present through the breath. Yes, it's something that's both felt. We can feel the breath, we can feel the air, feel the change in the breath in the nostrils. We might feel the air through the back of the throat. We might feel the movement into the lungs. We might be present to the movement of the diaphragm, changes in the whole of the torso, the belly, the side body, and the back. So all of those might bring this sense of we're alive, we're a body with energy that moves, that actually generates life within our own bodies, that has a connection through the breath, the outside and the inside, our connections with nature and through other life-giving forces. That we're really connected, and we know about gravity, we know about other kind of scientific discoveries that we can feel, but we can't necessarily get our heads around. We know lots of changes are taking place through the light, through the heat. Amazing things are happening to plants and to ourselves just through the energy in the world and around us. So we have an outside and an inside. We have the physical, we have an energy body and a sense of energy around us. And within our immediate surroundings around the whole body, we will have a greater presence to a few meters in front, to the sides, above, below and behind. And maybe around that there's a sort of subtle veil. And beyond that there's the outer world. That outer space that's not far away. And that outer space that goes on forever around us. So through that veil, you may imagine there is breaks of light, breaks of energy to come through. And the work we did, the practice we did before, you might imagine where you pierce that veil and that light, that energy is coming through towards the heart space to continue that support, that connection, that drawing in. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit greater sense of the space of our mind. Space of our mind, our thoughts. And that's, most people kind of go into the head space, into the skull, into the brain. The mind is bigger than that space, but often that's where we kind of visualize our mind is. And we might be conscious of the thoughts that are going through our mind. We might be conscious of the views that we're holding moment by moment, the judgments we're making about ourselves, about our experience, about the past, about the future. And as we kind of just allow our awareness to sit there for a moment, to be in the mind, we focus on the spine, top of the spine, the connection with the neck and the skull. And we take our awareness down the spine, through the neck, the upper back, its connection with the rib cage, going down through and down towards the lower back, and our connection with the pelvis, that really big structure in the body, down the legs and down to the ground, taking our awareness through the kind of physical body, the bone structure, that has energy within the tissues and cells, and is changing and moving and supporting, and sometimes gives a little bit of trouble. We're taking our awareness, and as we move from the mind space and take our awareness down through the body, through the spine and the joints of the legs, and down to the earth, we can take an opportunity to let go, maybe a little bit, that wants to be released from the mind, the tension in the mind, any conflict that we might be aware of. We can allow a sense of release from thoughts that no longer kind of need to be present, either in the moment, in the future, that don't need to cloud things anymore. We can release those down through the body and into the ground. We can release the stories that we have been told or we tell ourselves that actually aren't true, aren't helpful, don't help us be in the world and be present to the world. We can allow some release of those stories. Some we may know, some we may still have not discovered. We can allow maybe some ideas that have got a bit rigid, or got a bit old, got a bit unlooked at, that maybe just need to be released or allowed to not be so held so tightly, maybe to just dissipate a little bit through the bones and into the ground. Maybe some of those judgments, beliefs we have about ourselves, about others, about the world, that maybe from our past, maybe from what other people have told us, that may be not helpful to being in the world, to being our better selves, to making positive journeys that could be just released for a moment, little by little. Drain through the body. The body will allow that to happen if we can allow it to. So it can descend through our structure and out into the earth. And the earth will accept things. Quite happy, like compost going into the earth. It can be feeding the earth as we release things from the mind. So as we just let that be, we can take maybe a little bit more attention to the heart space. Maybe again, feeling the breath, maybe in the chest, feeling the movement around the chest. And our heart may be very present to us at the moment. Some feelings might be strong, or we might feel a little bit more dull with our emotions. So there'll be a lot there for some of us, and there'll be some kind of cupboard for others. So we don't need to dig deep. We don't need to unveil anything that doesn't need to be unveiled. We can just allow a little bit of space, and for emotions that could be or would be helpful just to filter through us, any tension, any anxiety or worry that actually could just be gently allowed to return to the earth through spine and pelvis and out through the legs and down to the earth. We could maybe just do a little bit of that allowing with the breath. Maybe with that out breath we could allow a softness and with care to release, honor that our body holds emotions for good reasons, and all emotions can support us, keep us safe. And also they can be released way out through a softness and a gentleness and a kindness. And through this, we can feel the light and the energy coming through the pierce veil into the heart space. We're supported from the outside. So keeping the breath alive but soft. Take the breath you need. Allow the breath to support you in that release. If that's what you need, that's what you're ready for. And be comforted by the light. Be held by the earth. So if you wish to, you could move your awareness to the belly. So the belly might sometimes get a little bit constrained, get a little bit twisted, feel a little bit out of sorts through holding. You have to hold a lot. Sometimes we just have to hold a lot. And that might be in our headspace, might be in our heart, just might be in our belly. So just giving lightness to the belly, that's all you need to do. So softening the belly. Allowing the breath in to give a little bit more space in the belly. We're just allowing space in the belly. So it knows it doesn't have to hold all the time. Maybe at times it's appropriate just for that to get us through. And then we can release the tightness, the holding. And feel some relief, maybe. Relief in the belly. As we allow through the spine, through the pelvis, through the legs, through our whole body, that trickle of energy to be released. So some energy needs to be released so we can get a flow back. We can flow, we have a space in our head, we have an open heart, warm heart, and we have freedom in the belly to take in our experience. So just in the final few moments, just really being present to the light. Light from the piercing of the veil, the energy that comes from the outside that gives us connection. Connection that we're not alone, that connection that we have a way of giving energy and receiving energy. We have a way to support ourselves and to support others, of course. But we can be supported, we can be held, we can allow, we can soften. So imagining the spaciousness in the mind, the warm heart, and the gentle belly. Hands being felt on the body, maybe feet and bottom being connected to the ground as we're held, supported, so we can release. Feeling the in-breath, nourish, feeling the out-breath, allowing that release, giving relief. Any tension, time to go, time to release. So once more, just feeling the presence of the light and the energy piercing the veil. And allow that light to not just come into the center of the heart, but to be filled throughout the body. And maybe slightly beyond the body. And then return to a sense of the whole body sitting. The whole body sitting supported by the earth. The whole body sitting in the space that you're in. The whole body sitting in the space and being connected to the morning, to the sounds, to the light, to the season. Taking maybe a slightly deeper breath, releasing on the out breath, opening the eyes, moving the toes. Have a little wriggle, have a little jiggle. A little movement, forward and back, side to side. Don't fall off your chair, do your own spiral. Nature does spirals, we do spirals, get spirally. Okay, morning. Thank you, I overran, do apologise. Caroline had to leave, or she wouldn't get to work, I do apologise. I'm not always a good timekeeper. Okay, I keep space, but not always time. Okay. Thank you ever so much. It's lovely to see faces, and I'll see some of you over the next few days and weeks, I am sure. So, but I'll be back next week. So have a good week. Have a lovely day. Find your space, and all the best to you all. Okay, lots of love. See you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.